Warriors, what's good? It's been a minute. Hope all is well with everybody. You know how I go. Making our way through these shifts. It's been a while. It's been a lot of shifts going on in my life. I'm sure there's been shifts going on in many of your lives as well. We see all of the craziness like all over the place, which is kind of bled into my reality with work. I work with, because I work for government, but we see all of the things that are going on around, many things that could be changing your day-to-day life. And if it is, so be it. Let it be. Keep it moving forward. There are a lot of things I wish that I could rap to you guys about, but I'm going to make sure that I keep this short and quick. As you all are aware, or maybe not aware, that this month is Men's Mental Health Month. So, about a year ago, I've been making these videos off and on for a year, mostly on YouTube though, and I was just doing it to just put some information out there in regard to mind science. And I call it mind science because it's all things dealing with the mind, but it could help you in many different aspects of your life, right? And, I try to do it from a more practical, logical standpoint. But yes, we, sometimes have to get into methodologies and terms and philosophies, which aren't that complicated to absorb, but I am into esoteric knowledge. I am into history. I am into studying spiritual texts of all sorts. I am into astrology, not horoscopes, but real astrology and the math of it and gematria. So I try to incorporate those things into helping individuals, because these things are things that have helped me. And as some may know, I have a background in crisis counseling, direct care, case management, 17, 18 years plus. I work in a completely different field now, but I still utilize a lot of the things that I learned in the human service world, and more in particular with behavior. So, if you don't know me, that's what this message is all about. For those who do know me, the ones of you that, I care deeply about you. I probably haven't seen you in a long time, but if I respond to you on any level, if I'm liking your comment, your post, anything like that, because I'm really not on here often, just know that I'm praying for you, like all of you. If I ever make any kind of response to something that you post, but I don't talk to you often, know that I keep you in high regard, and I'm keeping you in prayer. So, now, on to the message. Men's Mental Health Month. So, the theme for this month is closing the gap, which I like. And they use 3 A's, I believe. Awareness. I forgot them already because I just did. Awareness. I forget, man. I don't need it. But they're acronyms that can help you to remember what the whole thing was about. And the whole thing about closing a gap is not so much from a standpoint of getting men to speak out, even though that is a part of it. They would like for more of us to speak out, or they think it could be beneficial or helpful. And I do too, to a certain degree. But as a man, and coming from humble beginnings, having a certain level of success in my life, working with people who have had some really difficult challenges from different walks of life. In regard to men, one of the most important things that I see is for that man to be able to first and foremost, have a sense of self and whatever that means to that person. Now, this is a loaded statement, so you will have to dig a little deeper beyond what I'm saying here, because it would get too involved and make this an extremely long message. Sense of self. Not that bullshit that you show everybody else. Not even the lies that you tell yourself, but the truth of the matter. And only you know that. And if you're not operating from a space that you would like, if you don't have the energy, you don't have the drive, you don't have the vigor to go, then let's stop right there to figure that out. What's going on with us? Is it our diet? Is it an environment? Is it devices? Maybe we just don't know. But we first and foremost, let's just start there with ourselves before you go talking to somebody. And I'm only saying this because, like, I've worked with a lot of men, and when men going through stuff, they really don't feel like talking. That's not how all of us work. We don't feel like talking, especially if I don't feel like you're going to understand what it is that I'm communicating, which is only going to make it worse. So I am for awareness and speaking out and advocacy and making sure that men are getting the things that they, deserve, especially good men that are putting 110 on the line every day for their family, for people who they feel responsible for, that got it out of the mud. Or maybe you didn't get it out of the mud. Maybe you don't come from humble beginnings, but you are a good person and you're trying to push things to that next level and be appreciative of what you've been able to be aligned for or receive from your family or whoever gives you support. That's great. But first and foremost, as a man, it's a self-check, baby. So first of all, we got to have that accountability within ourselves. And some of us, many people, struggle with accountability because they've been conditioned into a program to lie to themselves, instant gratification. Now, that would be more so the younger men. My age group, not so much. In the older age group, not so much. As far as accountability, even if they're not taking it, they are aware of what that means and how to do it, because it's practically impossible for anyone in the 80s and beyond, because that was a conversation that you had very early in life with men. But things have changed. And speaking of older men, the older men that I work with, even if they've done incredible things in their life, I've seen giants fall, like real giants, people who I thought were unbreakable. And the truth of the matter is, everybody's capable of falling with the right circumstances, but I encourage them to get back up. And anybody with a weak spirit, it's almost impossible for them to get their mind right, which is what you need. You're going to need your mind to be right for you to have the drive, for you to have the discipline, for you to have the clarity. And, if you're dealing with like chemical imbalances, I get it. I got people who I love dearly that I've watched go through all kinds of episodes with these chemicals, man. Whether it was the medicine that psychiatrists had them prescribed to, or the substance abuse, being dual diagnosed, mental health and the substance abuse. But, I have seen people get it together as well. I'm talking about some hardcore stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you're going to see this, but Cowboy, love you, man. I hope you're taking care of yourself. yeah, so I've seen people do incredible stuff. I mean, like bipolar, schizophrenic, diagnosed, but on the wrong meds, and within months, get off the meds, get on the right diet, get on the right regimen, get right in their head, get clear, get focused, and do incredible things. So, this message might be a little longer than what I thought it was going to be. So don't let anybody tell you that it can't be done, you know. And I'm not advocating against medicine, because I know it works if it's administered properly. And then when it's administered properly, giving that individual the tools to be able to learn how to keep their balance. Kind of like sometimes you need training wheels. Sometimes you need training wheels longer than others, or a life vest to keep you from drowning till you get the hang of it. And we all go through things where we have setbacks or unexpected challenges where, you know, we might have to work it out piece by piece. So that's all I'll say about like the chemicals, because we can go forever with that. Older men, like I was saying before, they've been through a lot. They probably have done incredible things. But the one thing I see with older men is getting past regrets that they have about things they did or things that they didn't do, and how it holds them hostage. And as that thing holds them hostage, or they're around people that keep them hostage to who they used to be, it weakens their spirit. That's the one thing I see with older men. If, as an older man, I don't really care what you subscribe to, or if you're a religious man or whatever, but you definitely need to be able to believe in something beyond your physical self, you know. Even if you resort that to the universe, or cosmic law, or your higher self, or Christ, or Buddha, or Allah, you as an older man need to be able to find a sense of peace and this kind of clarity, knowing that there's something beyond you, and the way you feed your spirit, because you have to feed your spirit. An empty spirit or a broken spirit is the fastest way to death. Point blank. Broken spirit, can't do nothing with it. Period. You know. So that's my message to the older men. Also to the older men. I get it. You know, it's a lot easier to be frustrated. It's funny. Because when I was younger, I said I might be a grumpier older man. And sometimes I see myself turning into that with the YNs. But nevertheless, if you're an older man, yo, with the younger brothers, you don't have to lecture, man, but drop jewels every chance you get, you know? Even though you may be going through stuff, I promise you, helping someone else will make you feel better, you know, if you can get out of your way. Of course, these messages aren't for someone who's narcissistic. I mean, at that point, everything's obsolete at that point. So anyway, for my generation, you know, people in their 40s, brothers in their 40s, we've seen both sides of this thing. We see the new coming in, and we've seen the old going out. And in regard to leadership, I encourage a lot of us to think about what that looks like, and how we may be able to take part in leadership, because the youth definitely needs us. And, you know, we're at such a critical point, Generation X, marking the spot, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a crossroads. And I'll speak personally, me personally, I had a real frustration and irritation with there being a lack of leaders in my community, real leaders. Now I'm going to say something that may rub some people the wrong way, but I don't give a shit. You know, I looked into, as a teenager, I looked into the Rainbow Coalition. I looked into the NAACP. And in some places I seen that they were doing some good things, but man, it was too much. I don't know. I felt like it was too much Sambo for me. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of bullshit and niggas hungry for attention and their own gratification and a bunch of boogaloo shit. Not to say everybody's like that, but I see a lot of it, and I'm not about to mix words or pretend like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So if you don't like it, so be it. I don't give a shit. But there was a true lack of leadership in a lot of our communities, and the things that we looked up to or got programmed to definitely weren't the best or weren't the healthiest, and it was by design, you know. A lot of times the strongest people in my community were the people that were living on the wrong side of the law. But they were also the people that were reading the paper, the most informed, knew everything that was going on in politics, knew a lot about money, knew a lot about behavior, you know. So I picked up some of those things, but sometimes, you know, we pick up some of that other crap, which is a dead trap to send you to an abyss of nowhere that you're not meant to get out of. And I'm speaking on this from personal levels. I got very close family that I never wanted to see them behind that wall. And that's pretty much where they've been their whole life. Some of them, that's all they're going to see. And others, they can't get it right up here. Can't get it up right up here, you know. Traumas, setbacks, you know. So in my community, there's a real need for people who think outside of the box, think for themselves, continue to promote self-love, self-care, and what that looked like as a man, you know. Because sometimes when we hear things like sensitivity and vulnerability, like, yeah, bruh, like, you know, and some people's like, oh, it's toxic, and you know, men should be able to express themselves. Yeah, true. This is all true. But men don't express themselves the same way as women do. Let's start there. Let's start with that. And trying to put it into the same context and make men express themselves the same way as women do. You got some men who brave enough to try it, but they're not going to get too much from it because they got more masculine energy, and they're going to do things in a masculine way. So one of the things that I always try to tell men when I'm talking to them about sensitivity and vulnerability, so that they can have an understanding of like why it's important. It's important because you need it to activate the energy in your heart space. And even when we were young, we knew you had to have heart in certain situations. And the older you get, you're going to need more of that heart energy, more of that capacity for charge from your heart to fuel your endeavors. And if you've been through a lot of stuff, you become numb, or you become cold and you become numb to the situation. Even me as a counselor, you know, I'm pretty pleasant as a person overall. But I had been through enough where it made me numb. I didn't even realize I was numb to certain things, you know. So you got to break that ice up on your heart. You have to increase prosperity and manifestate or co-creation with the creator into your life. You need your heart space, which means you got to work through traumas. You got to work through insecurity. It's like, yo, well, how do I do this? Because I got robbed. I was this. I was that. You're going to have to pour into your spirit, whatever that means to you. And this is all self-care and self-love. And no one can teach you how to do that. And I will tell you that reading helps. Music helps, like hurts, helps. I can't get into all of this. I'm going to break it down and give more little pieces later. But if you already understand some of what I'm talking about, then this is just confirmation for you to get back at it, get to it. You know, it's not about getting knocked down. It's always about getting up. Can you get up? Can you get up? It's always about that. Always about that. And you can go through some really, really, really dark times. I'm talking about extremely black with a lot of pressure, where it feels like there's no way out at all, no time soon. And that may be true. But long as you can breathe, brother, one breath after the next, just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. And find something to be thankful for, even if it's for the breath you just took and that's all you got. Gratitude is an incredible thing. Short story, 10 years ago last July, I got, I shared this before, I was poisoned. Thank God for my boy D. Clayton. May he rest in peace. Held me down, made sure I got what I needed so I can survive. But man, it was a long uphill battle. So, got poisoned. That threw me off for a minute. Like, I don't even know how long I was really dealing with it. Years, but a year later, I ended up having a stroke. And also was diagnosed with something called trigeminal neuralgia, type 1 and 2. Basically makes you feel like your face is on fire. No other way to say it. It's a nerve condition. And it'll scramble your brain. It feels like somebody's frying your brain. And I was in and out of the hospital. In and out of the hospital. And the people that I thought were going to hold me down were the very people, not only to stab me in the back, but make sure that they already had a hole dug to kick me in, when I was done. Long story short, now I have people in my life that I'm sure that I could have reached out to for help. But I didn't want to drag them into my shit, because they real good people, and I know they would have went down with me. They would have fought tooth and nail to help me in any way they can, and I never said a word to them because I wanted them to continue to prosper. This is my battle. So as a man, sometimes that happens. Those things happen with us where it's like we don't share because we have a deeper understanding of what's really going on at that moment. And if that's the truth, I salute you. Because on the other side of that challenge, on the other side of that struggle, is victory, is success. That's character building. Struggle builds character, and nobody can take that away from you. Whether they want to acknowledge that when you walk in a room or not, doesn't matter. You already know, because you know what you're capable of by experience, where you learn from your lessons and have been able to lock in this wisdom. So it's made you wise in your actions. And the more struggles you go through, the wiser it makes you. So these challenges that you're dealing with, see them as a way to be stronger. Depression, I think, is probably one of the main ones that a lot of people deal with. And depression is a bitch. That monkey can jump on you, and it's game on, So if you have people who really are trying to help you, great. Take the help, step for step. No step is too small. If you don't, I know it's still possible. Like I said, man, I've been on my deathbed more times than I can count. I didn't need anybody. It's not that I didn't want help from it, but I didn't need shit from anybody. I believed in myself. I just refused to die. A couple times I thought I was. Through the night, I was like, okay, this might be it. Might not wake up in the morning from this shit. That's how bad the pain was. And it wasn't like a week, 2. I'm talking about years, man. Years. I'm stubborn. I'm hard to break. And it took me a long time to even conceive the notion that I wouldn't make it through it. But thank God for my babies. I'm a father, so I was like, I refuse to die on my girls. Refuse. I'm not leaving. And I'm grateful for God to honor that, you know, and all of it was really just a test to see if I was really about what I said I'm about. And I'm unstoppable, and I know that. And I'm rich in spirit, so I'll never be poor because I've worked on my spirit. And it's always seed time and harvest. And you see things within you, the interchange happens before you see it in the exterior. And it takes time. And we have seasons that we go through things. So, for example, like I was saying, so I started making these videos about a year ago. So boom, coming into another year, I can see the first fruits of those things that I put in a year ago. I'm not expecting instant gratification. I'm in this thing for the long haul. I'm looking for legacy. I'm looking for greatness. And that takes a lot of strength, especially when you have to build a foundation for it. When you got to level the ground for it, the ground being your mind. Because you also have to deal with those things that were passed on to you, good, bad, or indifferent, you know, from family, you know, genetics, you know, and we can get into epigenetics at some point. But we've been on here for about 26 minutes, so I'm going to close this thing up real quick. And how should I finish this thing up? So, like I said, it's Men's Health Month. We're closing the gap. If you know men, if from brother to brother, let's just holler at each other. Let's just check on each other. Hey, just checking on you. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about you, bruh. You know? Oh, that's what I want to talk about, that vulnerability and sensitivity. So you need those things, right? But think of it more so from an aspect of a ninja. You know? A ninja has to be aware of subtle energies, subtlety. Think about it like that when you think about sensitivity. Vulnerability. Don't think of it like, oh, I'm vulnerable. I'm just a fucking marshmallow and I can't do. No, like, stop all of that. I know how y'all think. Trust me, I do. I know how you think. Stop that. Vulnerability is more about having the strength to be completely open and knowing that you're going to be okay regardless of what happens. Real strength, you know? So those are just kind of some of the things, like I said, when you think sensitivity and vulnerability, think ninja. Think of strength to be open. Think that, oh, I'm so in tune with my body and my energy. I'm aware of all subtle energies. And once you can kind of start figuring that part out about the subtle energy, why do I feel like this? What? Do you feel that? When you start feeling those subtle energies, where did that thought come from? Paying attention to those things, you will be able to set proper boundaries around yourself so you can keep your balance. Because the truth of the matter is, you know, if you haven't been doing any of this, or if you haven't really deep dive into some of this, it's going to lead you into things that you never thought you would be interested in. Like, you might be an empath, you know, or like that, your power of discerning might increase even more because of the clarity, because then you'll let go of some of those vices that you have, that you've been hanging on to because life has been so hard and it's been getting you through. You'll start to eat better because you just understand that you love yourself and you're not going to put certain things in your body. You're not going to have certain conversations. You're not going to entertain certain toxic ass women because of the way they look, which is atrocious to me, yo. Like, seriously, like, someone can be on the exterior and look a certain type of way that is very attractive, but energy, man, people energy, like, we are speaking men's health, so I'm just going to just, like, to all my sisters and queens out there, if you hold it down, good for you, but there's a lot of toxic, ugly women out here. Be aware of that. Very manipulative, narcissistic, and they don't even know it, bro. So it would do you good to keep to yourself I can understand you wanting to be with somebody and having that. It would do you good to keep to yourself and have less of a headache and find out more about who you are and then attract the right energies to you versus pursuing your own death. Just saying. Been there, done that. I'm just trying to give you a bit of advice. Working out. No way around it. Cut the bullshit. You got to work out. Maybe your fund's not tight right now. I get that. Maybe energy is low. I get that. But you got to start working on a plan. Okay, I'm going to walk today. I'm going to save this money so I can have food to eat so that I can work out like I need to. I'm going to cut back on smoking, drinking, or whatever. I'm going to buy more of this. I'm going to do more of that. Whatever you got to do, bruh. I don't know. You know your life better than you. But I'm coming on here just to have this conversation because I feel like it's important. Now, like I said before, I see a lot of great dads out here now. I do. Some of them I've met on my platform or started following them. And like I said, man, anybody who I interact with, I pray for, So shout out to all the fathers out here doing a great job, incredible job, coaching, teaching, mentoring, all the girl dads out here, man, y'all doing an awesome job. Dads that I've seen your children go from being little to teenagers now, and the people that they're turning into. Great job, dads. All the dads out there, happy Father's Day. I'm pulling for you. You know what I'm saying? I see the work that you're putting in, and you're needed in this crazy world. So I think that's all I'll say for this. Try to come back with a little bit more of whatever they're promoting for as far as men's health. I got to do a little bit more reading. I really enjoy doing this. And in the future, hopefully I'll have more time to, get more involved with the social media piece. I try, but, I have other priorities that are on my plate right now that are, taking a lot of my time. But it's going to be worth it. It's an investment. But there will come a time for this. But anytime I get a chance to come on here and rap, I will. But it's not like nobody respond to me anyway. So I feel like I'm talking to myself until, I talk to people in person and they're like, hey, this helped, that helped, whatever, and I'm glad it does for anybody. Even if it only helps one person, then that's cool. But like I said, I enjoy this. You guys have a great day and a incredible remainder of your week and a spectacular weekend. Think in those terms. If that irritates you that I said that like that and that sounds corny, that's because your fucking vibration is low. Yeah. Check yourself. I'm just going to be honest with you. If that irritates you, then your vibration is low. How do I know that? Because experience and coming into truth. If you're around people that are happy all the time, don't get me wrong, if you ain't got no dirt, I don't trust you. That's just how I go, and hey. But don't be hating on people that's happy all the time, man. If they happy and that irritates you, it's something wrong with you. And you need to figure that out. So I'll just leave that at that. I feel like there's so much more I want to say, but we already at 33 minutes, so until next time, warriors. Stay strong, man. Stay strong. Step for step, breath for breath. Step for step, breath for breath. And if you're killing it right now, stay humble, stay balanced, stay locked in, and keep killing it. Because you're a motivation for someone right now that you may not even know. And hopefully they'll be able to inspire themselves into a place of discipline to pursue, their own purpose in life. So I'll just leave it at that. Peace.